Nowadays, there are more than 8 billion computers in this planet, and every single one of them requires a programmer to tell it what to do. Most people are only able to use their computers for basic tasks or to access their social media, without using or even knowing the real potential of such a powerful device. After this talk, you will know more about computers than most people do, and hopefully you will be able to make a better use of your electronic devices. Programming is a very useful tool for automating tasks, performing heavy calculations, or creating any sort of program that can run on a computer. Today you will learn what programming is, some of the most important terminology in the field, some of the applications it has in the real world, and then I'm going to give you some of the ideas of what you can do with programming. So some people think programming is just a couple of lines of code. Some others think it's like in the movies, a bunch of zeros and ones floating in a black background. And let me tell you that programming is a lot more than that. It works in mechanicals. Programming of computers is nothing but a method of giving instructions to a computer on what to do next. These instructions are called code, and programmers write this code to solve problems or execute a task. So yes, programming is a couple of lines of code, and it is also kind of some bunch of zeros and ones, but not like that. And also, you're not expecting to just tell the computer some instructions and expect it to do it, because that's not going to work. To give the instructions to the computer, you need to use what is called a programming language, which is just a set of semantics and syntaxes that the computer can understand. All you write in this programming language is afterwards going to be translated into assembly language, which is the set of the actual instructions the microchip of the computer can understand. And this assembly language is just a representation of the zeros and ones that we're sending to the computer. There are a lot of different programming languages out there. Let me give you some examples. There's C, C++, C#, Python, JavaScript, Ruby, among others. Most of them have some common characteristics, but every single one is different. They have its own functionality, its own syntaxes, and semantics. There are some things that most programming languages share in common. Let me give you the 3 most common things. Most modern programming languages can create conditions. This is a way of telling the computer, if you have this data or if this is happening, then do this thing. Also, most programming languages can create loops. Loops are a way of telling the computer, do this thing a certain amount of times, or do it while a certain condition is true. Also, you can create functions which are just blocks of code that can be reused on any part of the program. So now that I have given you some of the terminology in the computer science field, let me give you some of the examples of the applications of programming in the real world. The first is going to be the most common and widely known algorithm in the world, which is the Google search algorithm. Basically, everything behind it is programming. When you make a search in Google, you're activating the algorithm that is going to give you an answer on results from web pages, which are also programmed with programming. Another useful application of programming is in the applied sciences, where you gather a lot of data and you have to process it. You are definitely not going to be able to process all of that information by hand. So you give that task to the computer so you can only read the statistical results. Also, you can run simulations on the computer to analyze and observe certain phenomena that you know it's happening in the real world, but you can see or you can experiment with. Another application is the industrial sector. Here, basically any big company that has a complete line of production is going to have a computer controlling everything, from the beginning to the end. This is called the third industrial revolution. And nowadays we're leading to the fourth industrial revolution, where the artificial intelligence algorithms are taking the place. And last but not least, programming has greatly enriched the world of entertainment. Without programming, we wouldn't be able to watch a color TV, to play any video games, or to see all those special effects we get today in the movies. So now that I have given you the applications, let me give you some of the examples of what you can do with programming. As already states, with programming you can do all kinds of funny things. Actually, there are unlimited options. You could create video games from the basics to the most complex ones. You can create daily use apps like calendars, schedules, or diaries. You can also create batch scripts to execute a task or control your computer, as well as many other things. I mean, as I already told you, the options are unlimited. And actually, there are some benefits in doing this. When you delegate a task to the computer, you can be completely sure it's going to work on it 24/7 until it finishes it. And while that happens, you can just go to sleep without any regrets because the computer is going to be working on it, and you can be completely sure of that. Now that I have given you all this information, let me just restate what programming is, because if that is not completely clear, this whole speech will be useless. Programming is just a way of telling the computer what to do, how to do it, and giving it on a language that the computer can understand it. Today you have learned what programming is, some of the applications programming has, some of the most common terminology in the field, and some of the things you can do with programming. And now I want you to think about something. Think about a world where you don't have any computer, cell phone, or anything that has some programming behind it. Life wouldn't be easy, right? So I hope you appreciate more the programming behind anything you use nowadays, and have a better understanding of how it works. Thank you so much for listening to me, and happy programming.